made where we believe you can grow to be a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. That's right, it's not just about money. Every week we share tips to improve your physical, mental, social, financial, intellectual, and like today's episode, your spiritual health. Today we are focusing on how to improve your spiritual health regarding solitude. If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is a show built on the fundamental beliefs that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. We are on a mission to teach the world how to grow into the healthiest, happiest millionaires in all 6 aspects of life. We believe in the teach a man to fish, and we're here to teach the world catch their ultimate self. So we went out and got 3 awesome guests to give us 3 awesome tips on how to improve our spiritual health regarding solitude. And in the spirit of authenticity, we don't talk about tips backstage. So when our guests come out and tell you their tips and their advice, it's going to be our first time hearing them as well. Audience, if you are currently watching this is an interactive show. Please feel free to comment and ask questions. We do answer them live. And real quick, I would love to shout out a couple of our followers. Followers for Solitude on Facebook, Heather Demore. Thank you so much. Instagram, Ambika Devi. TikTok, Julio, Brand Rodriguez. And YouTube, Robert Fox. If you want shouted out on our show, you just got to follow us. It's that easy. If you want to be a guest on our show, we are dropping the link right now. We love new guests. We know everyone in the world has something to share. We know that you got something that you would love to share with the world. Sign up at that link and apply to be on our show right now. And maybe you are going through something in your life that's a little tough. Maybe financially your bank's not there. Maybe spiritually you feel lost. Maybe mentally you just can't handle it. Let us know. Submit a topic. We're dropping the link right now. We will go out and find 3 awesome guests to give you 3 awesome pieces of advice to help you get through that rut in life. And finally, if you like what we do, as everyone in this day and age, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, send stars, however it is on whatever medium you're, we much appreciate that. And we also love to offer our free coaching. We have free growth consultations. That link is now being dropped if you want to have a little one-on-one and see if we can get you into a better spot. And before we pull our first guest, we got 2 more things. Merchandise. A lot of you have asked for it, and a lot of you have grabbed them. Our shirts are awesome. You should definitely grab one. Calendars, mugs, whatever it is. Check out our merch store. Support us. Thank you so much. And before we bring our first guest, this episode is sponsored by Brian Wright, who is an amazingly awesome guy. He helps you publish your book, does all sorts of stuff to get your life and your story out there. He gets your brand in front of high-level entrepreneurs and personal growth leaders. He runs the Ultimate Achievers magazine, where industry icons meet content-first audience. Go check out Brian. Say hi. Our next sponsor is Veronica Herrera, a life coach and host of the Thrive, Don't Survive podcast, empowering others with emotional regulation tools, which is super important in today's society, to transform challenges into thriving success. Super awesome, Veronica. Next up, we have Kim Groshek. Kim is a 2-time international best-selling author and speaker, helping CEOs or solopreneurs maximize focus, energy, and health with over 30 years of industry leadership expertise. She's amazing. And our final sponsor for this episode is Francine Julien, a veteran who turned author, inspiring families to explore mindfulness together. Her story and her book spark confidence, calm, and connection for kids and parents alike. Connect with her to spark that in your family today. Thank you so much for all of our sponsors. We love having you so the show can continue. We are going to bring out our first guest named Jacqueline and ask her our favorite question. Jacqueline, who are you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Young, and I am in Ontario, Canada. Beautiful day here for us. Looks like it is for you too. I used to be a CEO in education, and then my career kind of went out with a little bit of a whimper. And so I am now the mind shift coach. I had to learn an awful lot about my own dysregulation and what was going on. And what I really want to do is make sure that I am working upstream, helping People in leadership and in authority situations understand how to get ahead of their mental health, their mind, body, and spirit, and so that they can move ahead in a much more compassionate way for themselves and compassionate way for those who are in their care.
Sounds like some good work you're
Well,
doing,
thank you. I
Jackie.
like to think so.
Thank you so much. I love it. I've got a very important question for you. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health regarding solitude, what tiny piece of advice would you
The
give me?
tiny piece of advice that I would give your audience is to understand that to find spirituality, you truly need to set this up as a practice to understand solitude. And by that, I mean you're turning everything off. You're really understanding that you want to get into your theta brainwave state because that's where your creativity and all of the answers that you're looking for lay.
So, theta brainwaves.
The power is in the unconscious mind and getting into that beautiful trance-like state.
All right, fascinating. Where on your life journey did you learn this advice?
Oh, I had to learn everything kind of firsthand. And so the way that I got into hypnotherapy is because of how my last career left. And I was dealing with vertigo and I was dealing with migraines and my body was completely dysregulated. So I had to find out exactly what was going on with my own journey. And I had always considered myself a spiritual person. But when I went into this rabbit hole, I recognized that I actually didn't know what that meant because I hadn't allowed a lot of my own solitude, my space for solitude. And so it was understanding for me what actually was going on in the brain as well as the mind, two separate entities. And then to recognize the power of setting up solitude for about 5 minutes a day, even, but how to drop into a trance very, very quickly and then just remain wide open because in theta, that's where your creativity is. That's where all of the answers lie. And any trauma stuff that you need to deal with, any childhood stuff, that's where the work needs to be done. So when I went down the rabbit holes as to what had happened to me, this is when I kind of fell into hypnosis and kind of never looked back, to be truthful.
So you are a
Yes, I
hypnotherapist, is that
am.
correct? Cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Jackie. We're going to move on to our next guest and we'll bring you out for the round robin. Next up, we have Andrea. Andrea, tell us, who are you?
Andrea Whalen. Hi, I am a yoga studio owner of Ganga Moon Yoga. I've written 3 books in 3 years. 2 are Amazon bestsellers in the categories of inspiration, mind, body, soul, and yoga, which is an ultimate surprise to me. So this is what I love to do: is to help other people stay calm amidst chaos. And how do we do this?
Awesome. Stay calm during the chaos. I love it. Andrea, I have an important question for you. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health regarding solitude, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
I would say to you to bring into your awareness one of your favorite song lyrics, or maybe one of your favorite mantras, which are popular these days. Think, I am enough. Here comes the sun. Or maybe just close your eyes and bring attention to where your breath is in your body, wherever you feel your breath. That's the start.
Fascinating. All right. All right. Where on your life journey did you learn this
I
advice?
learned this advice after much upheaval, loss. I buried a son, several miscarriages, a lot of trauma. I studied Buddhism. I had a really good Buddhist Zen teacher. Here's the practice. And what it is a study of your mind. So if you can bring your awareness back onto that lyric, that mantra, or onto your breath, you are keeping connection from your head to your heart during the day. So if you wake up or just find a moment, feel where your breath is, there it is. That's one moment. But in Zen, there's a thing called the 3 moments. And if you can do it once, you can do it again. You can stack the moments. And what is that? It's peace. So when we bring attention
Okay.
from our head to our heart throughout the day, we're watering the seeds within us of focus, awareness, and concentration. This is how you start to stay calm It's no matter what's going on outside. There's a kingdom of peace and solitude within you. And this is one way to get in. This is one technique that can help you explore that part of yourself. The nature of who you are is stillness.
I love that. Nature of who you are is
Absolutely.
stillness. Wow. All right, Andrea, that's a great note to end it on, and we'll bring you back out on the round robin. Nature of who you are is stillness. All right, bringing out Heidi next. Heidi, can you tell me who are you?
Hello, Austin and the audience. Yeah, I'm Heidi Hackler. I am the owner of Happy Well Life, and I am a functional medicine health coach helping women take back their health through natural remedies instead of medications. And really, all of us have symptoms our body is giving us. Whenever we feel a pain or a symptom, that is our body talking to us and letting us know that something's out of balance. And it's generally not a deficiency of Prozac or metformin or something like that, right? So we need to get to the root, the true root of what's going on and why these things are out of balance, and then just bring them back into balance. So solitude has a lot to do with that because we need to be at peace internally as well as externally.
All right, that leads us right into our next question. Heidi, if I wanted to improve my spiritual health regarding solitude, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Get out in nature any way that you can. We are so disconnected from nature as a species nowadays, predominantly in the Western world. But if you think about for the last 200,000, 300,000 years, we were intimately connected with nature. We got up when the sun came up. We went to bed when it got dark. We touched the leaves, the plants, the trees, the tree hugging, right? That came from a thing because we were touching all that. And it's so important. It really puts us immediately back into a parasympathetic nervous system state, which is our rest and digest mode when we're out in nature, when we're listening to the birds and the wind blowing in the trees and we hear the waterfalls or the streams or the rivers or, whatever. Even if you live in a city, find a park, go in your backyard, find somewhere where you can experience nature in some small way.
I like it. All right, Heidi, where on your life journey did you learn that tip?
Well, probably I learned it way long ago. My dad was actually a national park ranger, so I grew up being exposed to nature from a very young age. We were always outside playing in the dirt
Really?
and trees and learning the birds and the flowers and things. But as I've gotten older and sort of, got away from that for a while and then got back into it, I just I feel so calm and peaceful whenever I'm out in nature. I can just even walk outside and look at a tree and look for the small things, look for the ants. I love watching ants. I live in Mexico and there's tons of ants. Ants are amazing. Just start watching ants and you just forget all your worries. You forget anything else that's going on in your life, or look at the butterflies or look at the bees. It's cool. Nature is super cool.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Heidi. We're going to bring everyone else out and start our round robin. Sometimes I like when we start these real early because I think we got a lot to talk about. All right. Jackie, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us? Audience, this is a great time to ask questions as well.
Yeah, basically understand that you need the solitude. That's when your mind and your brain are actually repatterning. That's when you actually understand that you are a spiritual being. That's when you can connect with that spiritual aspect of yourself. If you keep yourself in the cacophony of noise, you can call yourself spiritual, but to really connect in a spiritual way with yourself to find your own sense of divinity, you need the solitude, you need the silence so that you can actually allow yourself to think through what that means for you.
Andrea, what are your thoughts on her tip?
Oh, I love it. This whole topic is my jam. I mean, I've got one book called Deeper Days, which is 365 yoga inspirations for inner calm amidst chaos. Goes right along with what Jacqueline's saying. And also my Stillness in the Storm, a conscious daily journal of yoga and spiritual healing, is right along the lines with what Heidi's talking about. Heidi also has a journal for being conscious each day. It's so important. These are so important. I don't think people growing up in school were not taught these things. But like I told you before, the stillness is your nature. It's really who we are. What we're talking about here today, all four of us, it's not something outside. We're not at the mall for this. We're not shopping. It's not on a shelf. This is inside. Close it. When I teach kids about finding their breath, I say just close your eyes, and wherever you feel your breath, just feel your breath. It's always there, just like a best friend. And it's important to know that your breath is there, just like a best
Hopefully.
friend. It really is. Anytime you close your eyes, it's so amazing.
All right. Heidi, what are your thoughts on Jackie's tip?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. Happiness is an inside job, right? I mean, in order to find joy and happiness, you have to look inward. You don't find it outside. You don't find it from material things. And I used to think I was not brought up religious, and I used to really equate spirituality with religion, and it's not that at all. Like, I've learned as I've aged over time that spirituality is entirely different than religion, and you can be spiritual and not be religious, and you really need to turn inside and breathe, like Andrea was saying, and just find what brings peace and calm to your body. Whatever makes you happy and makes your heart sing, do more of that.
Whatever makes your heart sing. Awesome. Andrea, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Yes. So my tip is take one mantra, take one song lyric. It might look different for each person. Write that down. Put that at your coffee pot or your teapot each day where you make your daily drink. If you can, while you're making your morning breakfast, so it's part of your routine, that'll strengthen it for you. If you can repeat that to yourself while you're making your drink, you're doing mental and physical work. We're basically retraining the mind, right? If you can repeat that thought, then just for a challenge during the day, every time you bring attention back to that thought, you are strengthening and watering the seeds within you of focus, awareness, and concentration. Why is that important? Because we're in a fast paced society and we are creative people. And this practice will give you that extra breath, that extra moment to come from your creative place inside you and less reactive place inside you. It's, yeah, it's so good.
I love it. Okay, Heidi, tell us what your thoughts are on Andrea's
Yeah,
tip.
I love that. I've been meditating for over 35 years, and I meditate every morning and every afternoon. And just really, I use mantra meditation, but like she said, you could use a song or just anything that gets you back into your body, into your really out of your mind. I mean, it seems like if you're using a mantra or you're repeating a song lyric that you would be in your mind, but when you do it enough, you actually get out of your mind and you get into your body, and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jackie, what are your thoughts on Andrea's
Oh, I couldn't
tip?
agree more. I mean, in the work that I do with hypnosis, and my brand is all about education and empowerment. So, one of the things that we do is completely repeat things over and over and over again when someone is in a trance because your mind is wide open. And then we provide oftentimes in hypnosis an anchor for what that mantra is about. So if you see the color teal, then all of a sudden the mantra comes back into your mind because that's the programming that you wanted to have happen. The other thing that I would like to add, and I know that both Heidi and Andrea know this, is that you have to be very, very careful. Make sure that you are using positive language only, because whatever you're saying, your unconscious mind is going to pay attention to. So you don't want to say, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, because your unconscious mind will attach itself to the negative. It doesn't like to lose anything. So you want to make sure that you're saying, I want to lead a healthy life. I want to make sure that I'm eating beautiful foods. That you need to just flip it around so that there's no level of negativity to what it is that you're saying, because you have to really be careful with the unconscious mind and what it's going to glam onto.
Fascinating.
Sure.
Heidi, refresh us what your tip was.
My tip is to get out in nature every day, even if you're in the city, even if you can't get out for a hike or to the beach or something, find some place where you can embrace nature, whether it's in a city park or in your backyard, or even some little pieces of grass or plants that are growing out of the crack in the sidewalk. You can find nature anywhere you are. And go watch the ants. They're super cool.
I like the ant. Yeah, that's cool. I've definitely gotten lost
Yeah,
watching ants. They are
they
mesmerizing on
are,
how much they can carry
right?
for those little teeny
Yeah,
bodies. It's
amazing.
wild. Andrea, what are your thoughts on Heidi's
I
tip?
love it. I mean, I always say teaching yoga inside is one thing, but when you can combine, like every summer, I teach yoga on the beach, and it's just unparalleled. I mean, what it does for the senses and just connecting you back to your natural state of being, like it's a reminder of who you are. When you see the greenery, when you watch flowers grow, I mean, there's no separation. Just as the sunbeams aren't separate from the sun, right? There's no separation. And so being around that is just, there's a warmth inside, there's a feeling of wholeness, and it's less stress. And again, that's our nature.
Jackie, what are your thoughts on that
I'm
tip?
just so enamored by the entire idea of grounding, and which is also about, making sure that you are feeling on your bare feet, either the sand or the grass. And to feel that tickle of the grass is something that we don't do as adults. I mean, we kind of have parlayed ourselves into being different than who we were as children. And when you actually go back and think about those small joys of childhood, it's all about being in nature and sitting and watching the ants and being mesmerized and curious. And when we can hearken back to all of those childhood feelings of joyfulness and simplicity, like watching the ants and marveling, then that is a real tapping into our own sense of spirituality. Whether it makes you feel big or whether it makes you feel small, allow for it to make you feel something, and then tap into, oh, isn't that interesting that that's the way that I'm playing with that idea. But the idea of grounding, there's tons of science behind this as
Yep.
something that's even much more than just seeing the green and watching the flowers, all of which are very, very important. But the energy that we get from feeling our bare feet on the land is not to be outdone. I couldn't agree more with what everyone is saying. I mean, like, it's as if we've already rehearsed all of this for
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah,
Right?
Maybe
so true.
for years
Yeah.
you have. All right, let me follow up on that. So, right, you said like being like a child and being mesmerized at nature. So obviously people get jaded, they get caught up in the rat race, yada yada, they move on. What I'm sure all of you have recommendations. How do you encourage, how do you make it simple? How do you get people back into nature?
You
Yeah,
just
well,
have
I mean,
Yeah, you just have to be curious. You just have to be curious about your life. When things are really messed up, just look at it like, how is this so messed up? And use it as a mirror. What's on the other side of that? There has to be a curiosity of life. There comes a point when carrying all of the heaviness and things that are dark, you just have to turn it around for yourself. You have to realize that the difference between you and the ant is that you can turn it around. The ant is never going to set up the dinner table for you, but you can, right? So you have to remember your mind will lie to you. You can use it to set your sail in the direction you want to go.
yeah, it's really true. I mean, I often work with my clients and I remind people that humans have been on Earth for somewhere around 200, 300,000 years. And, just look back to how we have lived through that time, how we evolved. The last 100 or 200 years, we've kind of gone off the rails in a lot of different directions that maybe aren't so beneficial to our health. But if we think about how humans evolved to live on the planet and be one with nature and, get up every morning and breathe in this fresh air and get that sunshine on you. We've been taught to believe that sun is bad for us, that sun is dangerous, and that's just not true at all. We need sun on our skin every day to create vitamin D, right? So just think back to how your forebears used to live and get a little bit more of that into your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just like to add, I mean, I think that there's a real key point in what you've addressed here as our topic, Austin, and that is the necessity for solitude. And one of the things that I'll say with my clients, because I'm quite brash, is that if you cannot be silent with yourself, if you can't sit in silence with yourself, if you always have to surround yourself with noise, then you need to understand that there's some work to be done. because you should be able to
Yeah.
sit in the silence with yourself and be comfortable. And if you need some training on that, then seek someone out, like the three of us. And if you are uncomfortable with what it means, like I don't like where my thoughts take us, then step back from that sense of judgment and get curious about that. And so this is the work that I do with my clients in terms of, like, it's not about you being a good or a bad person. We all have a story to tell. It's being curious about where your thoughts take you and allowing that there's growth behind that storyline. So, I mean, it's not about negating fear and guilt and shame, because there's lessons learned through those. But they're like guests that you don't want to invite into your house for sleepovers. You want them to come in, you want to learn something at the dinner table, and then you want to say thanks, bye-bye, and then see what the learning is all about that they have left for you, because therein lies your growth in terms of your own spiritual journey.
Love that.
Well said,
Yeah.
Jackie. Well said.
Yeah.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
I
Heidi.
just love that. That was awesome, Jackie. Yeah, you have great analogies.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just try a yoga class. Just look in
Yeah.
look in your neighborhood. Grab a newspaper. I mean, when I was really messed up and I knew it, I pulled out a newspaper when I left my small town, like I could heal the world. But I just grabbed a newspaper. I knew my mind was all messed up. There was a monkey in there and a church, and oh my God, it was crazy. And I just pulled out the paper, and it said like NLP therapist looking for to train people. Just pull out, see what's around it in your town. Like, these are things that just anyone can do. Grab a local newspaper and look inside, see if there's any classes that might interest you. You might find yoga, you might find meditation. These are all entrances into your stillness. This is how you can find some solitude. There's people out, as much as you're needing it, there's people looking to teach you.
Yes, good
Totally.
point.
The other thing I really recommend people check out is Insight Timer. It's a free meditation app, and there's tons of guided meditations on there. If you're brand new to meditation, it's a great app. It's totally free, and you can just look through there and learn how to meditate, or they have like a 3-minute meditation, a 5-minute meditation, whatever you have time for. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I would just like to circle back to something that both Andrea and Heidi have said, if I might, and that's simply the connection between what's happening in the mind and the body. Because everyone has kind of talked to and touched on the idea that there's going to be leakage in our body somehow seeping itself out if we are not in alignment between mind and body. And it's either going to be a chronic illness, or for me, it was migraines and vertigo when I was out of whack. And so you really just need to really pay attention. Well, what is this thing that's going on in my body? Why do I feel so discomfort? Because somatically, you're going to have that sense of being out of kilter, even sometimes before you feel it in your mind, because we just keep pressing on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you have a solitude practice, or when you start to feel what that feels like for you, it gives you nice navigation, so that when you are really disconnected or experience dis-ease, then you have also your solitude practice. So one of the yogic paths is the middle path, right? So then you can kind of have a gauge for yourself. Yes, I'm really messed up when I'm like this and experiencing this. Also, when I'm peaceful and I practice solitude, here I am. So can I stay in the middle? Or if I fall, can I get back up quicker? Right? So it's really important that you find this for yourself, that you find the solitude that's within you. There's a kingdom of peace inside all of us.
For sure. I think another thing that also helps you get back to that middle ground, the middle way, as Buddhists say, is finding gratitude in everything, and just look for gratitude. People, they say it's not happy people that are grateful, it's grateful people that are happy. And so my husband and I practice the thing we call gratitude check, and every night before we go to bed, we say 3 things we're grateful for, and every morning when we get up, we say 3 things we're grateful for. And when you start to cultivate that practice over time and really find things to be grateful for, it just helps you in so many ways. It helps you find that peace and calm inside, that solitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome. All right, guys, we have reached the point in our show where we need to come up with our daily challenge. This is a task or series of tasks. It takes less than 5 minutes a day, costs $0, and is available to anyone in the world. that helps us improve our spiritual health regarding solitude. What thoughts do you have?
I have one. My this is what, write down your favorite mantra, that quote that makes you feel the most peaceful. I am peace. Write that down on a piece of paper and tape it to a spot that you see most during the day. So maybe by your coffee pot, maybe by where you brush your teeth, on your bathroom mirror, or on your bedside lamp. And then you'll see it more and more throughout the day. Just do that.
I would say start every day by getting outside and just breathing in some fresh air and looking, not looking directly at the sun, but looking at the sunlight, looking at the bright sky around you. If it's light when you get up, if it's still dark when you get up, well then once the light comes out, because that helps to reset your circadian rhythm as well and helps with your sleep. But just get outside first thing in the morning, even if it's just for 1 or 2 minutes, and just breathe in some fresh air, look at the clouds, look at the sky, look at the trees, wherever you are. That's free.
Yeah, and I would simply add on, and I love the fact that we've all come back to our initial first point, is make yourself the priority. Understand that there is growth in the solitude. So you have to make it a practice. You have to set some kind of a timer or recognize that I am worth making sure that I set aside 3 to 5 freaking minutes. It doesn't have to be 10. It doesn't have to be 20 to start. You want to start being comfortable with yourself. So make sure you're making yourself a priority. Find that time, find a beautiful mantra. If you're outside in nature doing this, like, then you're really pulling all of our stuff together here. But make sure that you set
Yeah.
it into your calendar. Make sure that you're turning everything off that's a distraction, and make sure that you are comfortable and getting really comfortable with just where your thoughts take you.
For sure.
All right. That's a good challenge. So, we're going to set a timer in the morning, right after your alarm, I would hope is the best. Go outside first thing in the morning, look out, inhale fresh air, write down a new mantra every day. So, you're going to have 7 by the end of this week, and tape it to your mirror and chant it 11 times out loud while you're outside.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Up
All
for
right.
it.
That's our daily
Up for it.
challenge. I hope you guys do it with us. Awesome. Well, that's all we came to do. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to put you all backstage while we wrap up the
Thanks,
show. Thank
Austin.
you, Jackie, Andrea, and Heidi. What a fantastic show and a fantastic challenge that I definitely really need to do. Watching another episode of Millionaires Are Made. Today we focused on spiritual health and solid. Don't forget, our daily challenge is write down a mantra that you like. So by the end of this week, we'll have 7 of those. We're going to go outside first things in the morning and chant it 11 times. 11 is a special number I have learned by doing this show from a couple of our guests. And then you're going to take that mantra and tape it to your mirror so you see it throughout the day. Make sure it's positive. Something that we learned today is